tonight's topic. So bear with me. Tonight's going to be a more passionate topic. It's just regarding James Gunn, dude. I warned you guys that I like my movies, but some periodically I'm just going to be giving updates on my take of the superhero genre in general. And basically, what I have to say is like, I don't know how hard it is to not try to reinvent the wheel. Like, it's so simple, and it's something that's been told to everyone. Everyone has heard this saying. Don't reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can try to reinvent the wheel, but the reason why it's a saying is because 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't work to reinvent the wheel. We're never going to be driving with squares until there's just a total shift in technology, unless Elon Musk's railways become the thing of the future and it's everywhere and all cars get locked into some conveyor belt. I don't see square wheels or rectangular or triangular wheels ever being something that's going to be necessary. Until then, don't reinvent the thing. So my thing is this, regarding the movie industry and this regarding the superhero genre, what is the point of serving a group of fans who were born and raised under a certain formula and saying no because they didn't accept the last iteration of somebody trying to stick to that formula? We're going to go ahead and say bump that generation, and we're going to start making movies for the generation under them and try to bring them up under a certain mindset and think we're going to be successful. I don't understand what that purpose was for. We basically sacrificed the biggest, most widely known superhero in media for a program that just doesn't make any sense. This is why people get into conspiracy theories, because it's like, who asked James Gunn to step in and reinvent the purpose of, not the purpose, but just what we want to see and pay money for regarding a Superman movie and just the DC genre. I get that Zack Snyder's DC iteration didn't pan out the way they expected, and you can check out my previous video, James Gunn is ruining the DCU. You can check that out to understand my theories and my concepts on where Zack Snyder was going with everything. But I still stand by the fact that if Zack Snyder was given a bit more time to make a full, complete picture, it would have paid off in the end, and it would have been something that people go back to, like the movie Titanic. Like, it would have lasted a test of time, but it would have been a series of movies that all have to go together for you to enjoy the full scope of it. Because right now, people are learning how to do something that's called long form storytelling. James Cameron was allowed 10 years to create his Avatar Part 2 before Disney just, or whoever owned it at that time, say, you know what, we really want to recreate this commodity, and we don't care, James Cameron, that you're not ready yet. We're going to give it to somebody else so they can try to give us that cash grab. They didn't do that. They allowed him his time to go in and complete his story. Now we're going into Avatar Part 4, and these movies are still making $1 billion. And guess what? People are going to always, when they watch Avatar 1, they're going to go to Avatar 2. They're going to go to Avatar 3. They're going to go to how many Avatars he makes. Now, bringing this back to Zack Snyder and James Gunn, it just doesn't make sense that they said, you know what? Because a movie or two didn't go well, and because your daughter passed away, and you fell off the mark a bit, we're going to go ahead and scrap that whole storyline and give people something that they didn't ask for. Like, for us to sit here and watch an anime, yes, this I'm uploading this video off the heels of finding out that an anime movie that's not even from the old generation has now basically earned more at box office quicker than the Superman movie. Something that we told was going to be revolutionary. I get it's the first in its storyline, so not everyone was expecting it to be just revolutionary, but for it to be a Superman movie, it needed to at least do $700 million to justify scrapping 5, 6 movies of a story that we were already working on. To justify scrapping that, it needed to do something, and it barely showed up on anyone's registers. So I just don't understand why we took the time out to do that. You know, it's just like, what's going on? My thing is just like, what was the purpose of destroying that, dismantling that whole thing, and bringing in totally new people? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's just like, yo, like, come on, man. There should have been much more planning. Should have been better planning for this. Should have just been a better situation. That right there was just, nah, man. And now you got this movie sucking. They rushed it to digital. It barely did anything on digital. And all in all, it's just trashing. It's just giving people that already hate it more ammo to hate. Now they can say, oh, they redid Superman and that didn't do well. They can say that now. But before, they can only say one thing. Hey, we don't like Zack Snyder. We don't like what he's doing with Superman. But now they have the ability to say, you know, they gave Superman another shot and it sucked. And guess what? We just don't like Superman. We don't like DC. We don't like superheroes. And it's just saddening to see. It's just disheartening because as an action fan, superhero movies are some of the most artistic and best watching experiences that we have today. Yes, there's other properties, but being able to see some ultimate action play out on the big screen, like superheroes, like a Superman that has basically every power that you'd want as a superhero, like seeing that unfold on screen on a monumental level is something that needs to be done in a correct way. And then you got the fact that DC battles Marvel. Marvel is not out here flopping like that. They're not. And when they do flop, they still gave you something to walk away with and saying like, wow, that was still a great action scene, or you know what I'm saying? Like, they give you some type of spectacle. I don't care for what James Gunn is doing with his brand. And yeah, it may be too hard, it may be too easy to tell, but it's just like, come on, bro, you just had Superman in your hands and you had him battling a clone of himself that's not even Bizarro. Like, Bizarro exists as a character, and you gave us a clone of Superman with no lines, with no different look other than him having long hair. Like, come on, man, that's not it. This dude was quiet, like he was fighting a mirror for the whole movie. And it's just like, come on, bro, you got so many characters that mirror Superman's power level that you could have had in place for that storyline. For you to say, no, it's Lex's doing. Like, nah, bro. You had so many more directions, creative directions to go with. It doesn't make sense why you sacrificed that first movie to be so trash and to be so dull. Like, it's just very dull. That's what it was. It's like, okay, I get it. We got the feminist wave going on. You want to actually make Superman a jobber for his cousin Kara. You want to make her movie. You want to make it super dope. You want to bring an awesome character like Lobo into her movie. That's awesome. I love that. I always would have loved to see Kara Zor-El being on the big screen. But you're gonna give her Lobo, and you're gonna give Superman a clone of Superman that's not even Bizarro. Like, you basically are like having Superman's character bow down and get out the way, and ushering in to where Supergirl's movie is gonna be more successful. And unless that's the ultimate plan, is to make this a female-centric DCU, it's like, bro, you gotta start coming clean with where you're going with this. Because honestly, I could get behind a female-centered DCU. I will get behind that. Because at least I know where we're going. I know what they expect. But you can't sit here and tell me these are the best we can do with these characters like Superman, and you got him fighting a nobody, a literal nobody. So it's just like, come on, man, like, we have to do better. I don't know where he's going with this. I don't want him touching any more movies, like, to be honest with you. I don't want him touching any more of the DCU properties. I don't. He doesn't care as much as someone else as a filmmaker. All he cares about is getting his little weird jokes off, doing things where I just saw I don't watch Peacemaker because I just don't know the character, but I saw in the media where it's like he's got Peacemaker making Nazi jokes and Nazi innuendos and stuff like that. And it's just like, come on, bro, this is where we're going with it. It's like that's a detour we didn't need. We just did not need that direction at all. Why do we have to do that when you got Marvel gearing up to drop Doomsday? Marvel's pulling out all these stops, all of them. They're bringing RDJ back to play another character. They putting all the focus on him. They they made Chris Evans an offer where he came out of retirement for this movie. Like they pulling out every stop that they can pull out to make sure they got the most successful story. They brought the Russos back to make sure they got the most successful story and that to make sure they can give the fans what they wanted. I don't know too many people that said, I'm never watching a DCU movie again unless they get rid of Henry Cavill. I'm never watching one of those again unless they get rid of Zack Snyder. It's like anybody with a brain could see that Zack Snyder wasn't in position to finish off Justice League because of the tragedy he had to face. And then you guys went ahead with that and brought in Avengers director Joss Whedon to finish the movie up for him, and that flopped. And y'all wanted to go ahead and treat him like he's an executive of a company and say place the blame on him for the movie flopping when y'all know he had his hands off the wheel on that one. And then when he dropped his version of the Justice League, that success wasn't enough for y'all to be like, we need to go ahead and rethink our decisions and bring him back. Now y'all like, we're gonna double down on it and find somebody new and let him juggle up what we want, juggle our results. And it's like, come on, bro, it's too much rolling the dice on this. It's too much rolling the dice. We need to get back to what worked and it's honestly not too late to let Zack Snyder complete his story. It's honestly not too late. It's only been about 5 years max. I'm not gonna do the math right now, but 5 years max. Those characters are still young enough and in their prime to go ahead and reprise those roles and give us the ending of a story that we deserve. For the real fans, the people that are gonna go see this movie 5 times because it was so epic. Like that's what James Gunn don't care about. It's like you want to make these movies for the new generation. If I were to have a 5-year-old son or a 10-year-old son that I felt like the Superman movie was geared towards, we're seeing that movie once or twice max. Once because I don't want to see it no more, but twice because maybe my son connected with it so much that he wanted to go see it again. But Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2, Justice League Part 3, where they're facing up against Darkseid, dude, that's gonna stop time for me. I'm seeing that 4 times, 5 times in the theater to get that rush, to get that experience. What James Gunn is doing, I don't want to wait 10 years before I feel like he's built something up so impactful that I need to see it multiple times. And the fact that he just bombed this first movie, and now his TV show that he created, he's making Nazi innuendos. No, dude, I don't like where it's going. I don't see a future where I'm going to be seeing a movie 5 times and spending my hard-earned money to see that. I just don't see it. All I know is the generation that grew up under a certain formula, we're now of age to be seeing these movies 5 times in a row because they're so great. And they want to kick us out the way for the new generation of let's control their brains and get them certain ways to think about life. That's fine, but y'all gonna be in the hole for a long time. Because guess what? Now Warner Brothers is up for sale to Netflix and Paramount. That's you know what I'm saying? Like that's devastating. That's not something that Disney's facing. And Disney is staying true and staying consistent with their storyline and what they have going on. Granted, WB was never Disney, but at the same time, WB could have been Disney. WB is associated with Universal Studios. WB has Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes. They always mirrored Disney. So the fact that WB lost it like this, that has a lot to do with the fact that they couldn't get it right with the superhero genre. And yeah, competition messed them up because people were favoring Marvel over DC, even when Zack Snyder was running it. But I still feel like DC would have been much more successful had they stayed the course. So, thanks for sitting in this talk with me. But yeah, we're gonna stay on this topic, over time, see how things pan out. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. But yeah, man, this ain't it, man. James Gunn, you gotta step it up, man, or you gotta get more introspection in your boardroom to where you can really create something that people can rally behind, because you're not even giving us the spectacle we deserve. Like, come on, bro. That movie it looked crummy, dude. Like, the CGI aspects of it, other than that monster blob that Superman had nothing to do with when he was talking to Lois, other than that, that was the only thing that looked cool. Even the big monster that everybody was fighting, the Justice Gang was fighting with him, that looked cheap. It looked like a big rubbery CGI monster that wasn't really there. Like, come on, bro. Like, we got Godzilla 1. Like, that's where we're at in technology and CGI. Get it together, James Gunn. Get it together.
Is the Legion.
That girl so beautiful. From the moment she wake up